2014, I fell on the drop site and crushed my spine. I ran across the vegan diet, right? So just like I do the carnivore diet now, I went all in. I did lose a lot of weight. I mean, I was really thin. I went from like 220 pounds down to 183 pounds. The problem I had with that diet was I was eating all the time. I remember one time I went to Costco and I bought one of those giant big thing of carrots and I ate the whole bag. It was like 5 pounds of carrots in like an hour. And then I had two other neck surgeries. And then the last one was just, I lost the use of my right arm for like about 8 months. The only thing I really wanted out of the diet was to just get out of pain, right? I wasn't expecting to advance so much. I just thought, well, if I can just get out of pain and lose weight, I'll be great with it.
Anyway, okay. Well, welcome. Today we have with us William, who's going to share a success story with us. So, William, first of all, I guess thanks for being here. And if you want to just start with maybe your background and tell us a little about yourself, and we'll get to going into what's happening with you.
Well, like I said, I'm from Salish area. I grew up in Salish, Granite Falls area, I guess, but I was still shy. And I'm 45 years old. And 2014, I fell on the drop site and crushed my spine and my neck spine, and pretty much from C4 to T1. And I had an emergency operation, and I lost partial use of my right side. So I was bedridden for about 6 weeks, and then as I got up, I went to PT, and I had a lot of surgeries before, like knee, low back, and a bunch of hernias, but this one I just wasn't recovering from. And so as I had all this time on my hands, I started to research like diets and stuff and see if there's anything I could do. And of course, I ran across the vegan diet, right? And so I just like I do the carnivore diet now, I went all in, and I did it the right way, right? So like the first thing I learned is I can't eat grains, because the minute I ate grains, I got fat. And so I went from grains, real brief brain thing, to straight raw. And I did lose a lot of weight. I mean, I was really thin. I went from like 220 pounds down to 183 pounds. And I did feel good, but the problem I had with that diet is that I was eating all the time, and I could not fill enough. And when I was 183 pounds, I was like I was super weak, and I couldn't sleep, and I was, like I said, I was eating like all the time. And then I discovered so I went back into YouTube like we all do, and I discovered the Fruitarian diet. So I went from being raw vegan to the Fruitarian diet. I actually felt good for a while, but the problem I had with that is the same thing. I'd eat all the time, and I just was eating fruit all day long. And then one day I smelt a guy. He was doing barbecue about 3 blocks away, and I actually smelled it in the air. And so I walked over to his house. He was like, "Hey, do you want something?" And I said, "Sure." And that was the end of that. It was like I just craved it, But it was a few years after that before I actually tried the carnivore diet. I just went back to the old diet after that,
Okay, so you had this fall, injured your back, lost some function on right side of your body.
Yeah.
We're sitting there like, what can I do? We went vegan for a while. What were the things that the vegan diet actually benefit? Because you said you felt a little better, you lost some weight. What would you say the benefits of that diet were? What were some of the problems with it? And then what, ultimately made you decide, hey, I'm tired of this vegan and fruitarian stuff?
Well, I felt good because I lost weight, I think. And, but I was just hungry all the time, like just constantly, and it's like I could not get enough, and the appetite was just, I just could not satisfy myself. And I just didn't feel strong. you know, like, and I already had problems as it was, right? So this was actually making it worse, you know. And everyone was like, yeah, man, you lost weight, you look great, but I didn't feel great, you know. And the thing too is I thought I was doing it wrong. So I would, all these guys, they would just like coach me through it. And I was doing everything they wanted me to do, you know, and I just could not reach the mark, you know. And they always said, there's got to be something you're doing wrong. And I'm like, dude, I'm trying everything, right? I don't know what you guys want, you know? And I remember one time I went to Costco and I bought one of those giant big thing of carrots and I ate the whole bag. It was like 5 pounds of carrots in like an hour,
Yeah.
right? And I didn't, I don't know, like it just wasn't enough, you know?
Wow. So I mean, I wonder how your gut would have felt after eating 5 pounds of carrots. That would have been, that might have been problematic. But
Yeah, it was interesting.
so you did this for how long? How long did you do the
That was
vegan
exactly nine
fruitarian thing?
months. Yeah,
9 months of it.
9
Okay. And then
months.
you decide what was it? What was the deciding point that this is not for me anymore? What made you make that decision?
Well, like I said, I was sitting there in my kitchen and this guy was cooking some meat and I smelt it. And it
Okay.
smelled
So
so
just a
good.
desired, okay. Just
Yeah, it
your
smelled so good. You know,
your natural instincts kicking
yeah,
in,
and I
perhaps.
actually
Okay.
followed it all the way to his house and I peeked over his fence and I was like, dude, what are you making? And he's like, you want something? I said, sure. And I was it tasted so good. I was done with that diet experiment, you know.
I see.
Yeah.
And so you said you lost weight, but you felt pretty weak and you were always constantly hungry. And that was some
Yeah,
of the
that was the
problems
main
with
thing.
that.
I just was hungry all the time, you know. And I didn't eat sweets. I didn't eat any. I didn't cheat on it. You know, I did it the right way, you know.
How was because you said your right side of your body was affected. Did that have any impact on that? Did it help at all or no?
I don't think so. I think it remained the same. I did have a lot of like. I'm still pretty new at being hurt, so I don't know if there's a lot of spawning still. My spinal surgeon said it might take a year or two for that to go away, you know. And so
Okay.
I
Yeah.
just didn't get any recovery out of the deal, you know. I just thought, what's the point, you know? I was like trying so hard to to stay on this diet. It was just hard, you know. And so I just was like, well, it ain't really, if it did help a lot, I probably would continue, you know, but it didn't really help a lot, you know.
Yeah. So there's, there's a natural history and you get some degree of healing from an acute injury, regardless of what you're doing there. So that
Right,
and
right.
that. So you smell, you're in your neighborhood, constantly hungry because you're on this vegan diet, and you smell somebody cooking some meat. He's like, wait, I just need to eat some of this stuff. So when did you start going into eating more meat again? And then if you made a switch to carnivore, when did that happen?
Well, that was another 3 years. So I moved over here to Idaho, and I just kind of just accepted my fate, right? I was like, well, I'm hurt. I can't work. I'm on Social Security. I'm on workers' comp and all that. And I just thought, well, and I always liked meat. I just didn't really, you know, I was just doing what you think, you know, meat, and potatoes and stuff, you know, and that's what I ate. And then I came over here, and then I had 2 other neck surgeries, and then the last one was just I lost the use of my right arm for like about 8 months, completely, and it was just getting worse, you know, like it wasn't like getting worse overnight, but it was like progressively getting worse, like over a period of a year or two. I just noticed that just wasn't like getting anything back. You know, it was like I was getting old too fast or something, you know. And then my friend Alec, he sent me a YouTube of Chafee, and it says, plants are trying to kill you. And I'm kind of a conspiracy guy in the first place, and I thought, you gotta be kidding me, right? So, but I was like, well, I don't know, I'll see what he has to say, you know. So I listened to his YouTube thing, and I just thought, what the hell, you know? And so I found you, I found JP, which I love JP, and so I have a lot of respect for that guy. And so he was on it, so I just went all in on it, on the carnivore diet. So that was about 2 years ago, right? And that's how it all started. But see, I'm just that type of guy that will try anything once, you know. And when I do
Okay.
something, I just do it all in, you know.
Okay. So like 2 years ago, you went all in on the carnivore diet.
Yeah.
I assume you're still doing it.
Yeah,
Is
absolutely. In
that
fact,
fair to-
now I'm raw. I've been raw for about three
Okay.
weeks. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what was the first of all, I guess contrast the way you felt on carnivore versus a vegan diet. Was there a noticeable difference?
Well, like the weird thing is like, so how did I start that out? I just started eating any type of meat you can possibly think of. Anything that was allowed in the diet was the first probably 6 weeks. And it wasn't even day 3 and I was over the flu. It was that fast, right? And it's just like, so before I started the carnivore diet, I could walk about a mile and I'd get super tired. I'd go home and I'd sleep. And so I just was out going, I felt great like day 2, like not like super great, but like I felt like, hey, let's go out and get something done. And so I went out for a mile. I came back and I was like, I'm fine. Like, and so it wasn't like overnight, but it was like really, it was a lot quicker than I thought, you know. But the problem I had with the carnivore at the start was that, yeah, I was hungry all the time, but that period was only like 2 weeks. And then after about 2 weeks, it was like, okay, I can only eat so much food that I'm done, you know. And then I think I remember when I first started to see the big deal for me was like I would go on a road trip and I'd forget to eat. And then I'd ask myself how long has it been? And I'd be like, it's been almost a day. You know, I haven't ate. I would totally forget to eat, you know. And I was kind of new on the whole diet. So I'd have to scramble to go find, okay, who's got meat, you know, because like there's like a little curve you have to learn how to find the meat, you know, like and so that's how I learned how to prepare now to when I go out or something, you know.
Okay. And so you said initially you could only walk a mile. So I guess tell me where you started when you went carnivore. Where are you now? Have you increased your ability to do things? What are the supposed benefits that you've seen?
Well, I wasn't expecting that. The only thing I really wanted out of the diet was to just get out of pain, right? I wasn't expecting to advance so much. I just thought, well, if I can just get out of pain and lose weight, I'll be great with that. Well, it was
And
like
the pain you were having was what, your back,
no,
or where was the
actually,
pain direct?
I got hurt in my neck, but it was my right arm. It was my right arm and my
Okay.
right leg. It was just on fire every day. And
Okay. So kind of nerve pain,
right,
kind of nerve pain.
it's
Okay.
all
Okay.
nerve, yeah. And I'm anti-drug. I've always been anti-drug, and so I won't take anything for pain. I just don't think it's the right thing to do, and it made me feel weird. So I would I would just you know, just that's the way it is, you know. And so I just wanted to get out of pain and maybe lose some weight, you know. And but I had no idea, like, it was like a really short, like, okay, so like 3 weeks into it, I'm doing hikes, right? And then I would come home and I would sleep for like 8 hours straight. I mean, and that was something I couldn't do for years, you know, because where I got hurt right here is like I have to sleep a certain way, otherwise it would hurt. I'd always roll all the time, you know. And so that was one thing I noticed right away is I don't roll all that long. You know, I just, when I'm out, I'm out. And then one of the things that I liked the most was I would be tired at like 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock, I was tired and I wanted to go to sleep. And so if I was up at 10, it was like me, like, I had to make myself, you know, like I was in bed at 8 to 9, but if I was up at 10, I was like, there's something on that I really wanted to watch or something because I was really, really tired, you know. And that's bizarre to me because my pretty much my whole life, I didn't go to bed till like, you know, 11, 12, 1 in the morning, you know. And I haven't had that sleep since I was like 14 years old, you know. But
So I guess the vegan diet didn't really help with your pain that much, apparently.
no,
And this
not at
has.
all. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So it made you lose weight,
It
feel
made me
hungry, but
lose
it
weight.
didn't
Yeah.
help your pain.
Yeah.
Okay, but you've been able to get out of pain
Yeah,
with carnivore
completely.
now.
In
That's
fact, when I say I have pain, I don't take Tylenol, aspirin, ibuprofen, or anything. I'm on zero meds, like zero if any type of med, you know.
well, it's got to feel pretty good, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like, it's bizarre to me actually because I've been hurt for 10 years, you know, and I actually thought it was over. Like I was kind of accepting my fate, like, okay, you know, like this is what happens. You get in an accident, and you know, this is the cards are dealt. And there's a lot of other guys who are in my situation, and I was always trying to look for ways to be grateful, you know, and that's the way it was. It was like, well, it could be worse, you know, but I had no idea that like all I had to do was just change my way I eat, and then all of a sudden it's like a whole new life. You know, it's like
Okay.
the contrast is so black and white for me. It was like it was kind of like, you know, this is the life before me, this is the life after me, and it's such a interesting night and day thing. Like anybody who knows me has could see a change. You know.
Okay. And what about, I mean, obviously if you were getting pain medicines after this accident and, you know, were there doctors that were able to notice your transformation or your ability to come out of pain and stuff?
I've had two spinal docs. One was because my first neck surgery I had was an emergency, so it was just some guy that had to get real fast, and I can't remember his
Right.
name. But the one I have over here, he's worked on me twice, and he doesn't really seem to. He encourages me, and he says, "Great, great, good job," but he doesn't really have an opinion on diet. But I can tell
Okay.
you this: on
All right.
my
So
last neck surgery I had, they almost didn't do it because my blood pressure was too high, and so I've been running high blood pressure for years, and now it's completely fine. And it was weird because he was like, I had to get on meds just to do that. The last next surgery, they had to put me on meds for for like a week, you know, just to get it down a little bit, you know. And so I think
okay.
that's pretty
And
interesting.
so you went from, I guess, how is your right side? Because you lost some function in your right side. Has that improved as well?
Yeah, so I'm not as strong as I was before I got hurt, but it's like, okay, so when I first got out of the last surgery, I could barely even do this with my left arm, and now I can do it all day long, right? And I can do about 10 pounds, which is about 9 pounds more than what I could do before, right? And so the last neck surgery I had, it was a year before I went to the carnivore, and I couldn't even do one pound, and that was a whole year. And I'm the type of guy that goes to PT, and I've been to countless hours of PT, like days, hours, years of PT. You know, and I do everything they say, and they're just like, yeah, you know, that's just the way it is. You know, just keep it up. You know, and so that's what I thought. You know.
Okay. And then, so do you feel like are you still like gaining function as time goes by now?
Yeah, in fact, I started to compete in the wheel walk. You ever heard of that?
The what is it?
The wheel walk. It's a
No, what is that?
it's a competition where it started. I think if I'm standing right, it started with the vets that were in wheelchairs, but over the years they expanded, and now in my class it's guys who hurt their neck, right? So I'm competing now with guys that had been hurt like me, and I actually qualified. It's an international thing, so I had to compete with everyone around the world, and now I'm going to San Antonio to compete. And
What are you competing in
it's
exactly?
kind of like a CrossFit in a way, but it's more tailored to for what you can do, right? And so each guy I compete with, we're all doing the same thing. It's not like full on, but it's like, you know, if we can't do, it's just tailored for us, right? With our condition, right? So I'm competing with guys that got the same problem as me, and then there's also guys in wheelchairs and one arm and one leg, and we're just
Mhm.
doing things that, you know, it's just for fun, you know.
So what events specifically would you be doing, or what are you training to do?
Well, so it's CrossFit type, so you got like pull-ups and push-ups, and then instead of jump rope, you do line jumps, right? You can row kind of like the way you like to do. It's just not as intense as a guy who's not hurt, you know. And but I go 100%, you know, when I do it, you know, so it kind of helps that.
Sure.
See, I'm trying to be the number one guy, you know.
Sure.
Yeah.
Why not? Yeah, good for you, man.
Yeah.
So you'd mentioned you started out carnivore, ate just whatever, you kind of refined it a little bit. Now you're doing a raw diet. I'll ask about that in a second. But what did you kind of, how did you change how did your diet evolve over time, and why did you make these changes?
Well, when I first started the carnivore, I didn't know anything about it. I just figured, well, anything that's on the carnivore diet list is game, right? Well, I just naturally gravitated towards red meat. You know, it's just one of those things where it's like, well, I just like this, so I just do it more. And then that kind of went from to I was lion diet for about 6 weeks. And then every once in a while, when I say cheat, that means I didn't eat any red meat. Right? I went to white meat or something, right? But maybe once in a while I'd have some white meat. And then I would just work out harder and harder, and I would want to go on longer and longer hikes. And so I was always interested in like, how can I optimize my health the most? And so I would just do it. I'm just eating some red meat, you know, because that's how I feel the best. Here's something interesting though, is the first 6 months I ate organ meat. And for the first 6 months, I could not get enough of it. Like I'd eat a pound a week at least, and then one day I no longer wanted it anymore. And I think it's because it had something in there that I was craving. And when I got it all, it was like, okay, that's enough. That hadn't had any sense. But yeah, it's weird. It kind of evolved on its own, you know. And I've heard a lot of stories about that too, where people just prefer like red meat, you know. And that's the way I am. I just prefer it, you know.
Okay. And so you said you lost weight on a vegan diet, but you felt weak. What is your weight done with this type of diet?
Well, I'm about 200, 198, 198, 200 pounds. I was about 225 pounds when I started, and I got all the way down to 185 on the carnivore, but then I gained back, but I didn't gain back fat. You know, I got my muscle back, you know, and it was like it's like the fat was the first thing that left, and it went quick too. Like it was like I didn't even really like, I exercise more now than I have probably my whole life, to be honest. And but the first year I didn't exercise as much as I am now, right? And I still like lost weight. And I didn't have to do much. I did walk and I did hike, but it wasn't, I mean, there's guys that I met that aren't hurt, and they're doing 10 times more than me, and they were overweight, you know. And I just think it was diet, you know.
Yeah, fair. I can certainly see the diet having a big impact on you. Have you noticed any negatives with switching to this diet? Have there been any negatives that have affected you?
Well, I had to run for about 6 weeks, but that's kind of cleared up, you know. But the only thing I can think of is there's a little curve you have to learn on how to prepare your food, because like I got it down now, but if the store was closed, I would have to wait till the next day to eat, right? And it just wasn't hard to wait, but yeah, I just had to learn to like make sure I have plenty of food in the house, you know. But here in the last year, I bought a whole cow. I'm actually on cow free, so I have so much meat out in the house that I don't care anymore, you know. It's no big deal. There's just a little thing you have to learn how to make sure, because not every store's got meat, and that's the weird thing is you'll walk into a store and there's no meat. You're like, well, there's no meat, so I have to drive somewhere else to get meat.
This is in Idaho.
Right. Yeah. Well, there's like two stores where I live, and they're both closed at 8 o'clock. It's a little small town, right? And so all
Okay.
the other stores are convenience stores. And that's all you got, right? So
Okay. So you just live in a very
a little
small
small
community. So
community. Yeah.
got
Yeah.
it. Okay. So it's probably not a problem with Idaho. It's just being a real small
No,
town.
but
Where you
everyone's
they don't
got
have much
cows, dude. That's
resupply.
the cool thing is there's cows everywhere.
Yeah. Well, maybe you're in there eating all their meat and they can't refill it fast
I've
enough.
actually, so I had this guy that served eggs. He got his own egg farm, and I was like, how many eggs do you eat? I said, I eat about 12 a day. And he says, well, okay, you can have all mine. Well, it's like week 3, he's like, man, okay, so you're gonna have to get your eggs somewhere else because they're all gone. So he didn't think I actually ate 12 eggs a day.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Well, so what are you eating currently? You said raw. So let
yes.
me ask you about that. What is the impetus to switch to a raw meat diet?
Well, it was just one of those deals, I'm on the surfing the YouTube. I watch you every day. I watch Shape You every day. Then I run across this guy who's doing raw, right? And I'm like, oh, okay, And so I just said, what the heck, I'll just try it. And so I started with hamburger, and then now I'm eating it straight from the big chunk of meat. I just start eating it, and it's
Okay.
fine. Yeah, it's just like rare steak is all.
Right. Sure. I did that for about 2-3 weeks, I think, and I just didn't like it. I ended up it wasn't very appetizing after a period of time to eat that. So I think it's a good way to lose weight because But anyway, we'll see what happens with it. I mean,
Well, the thing
obviously,
that I noticed about raw is you're super hydrated, and I don't eat salt when I'm on raw at all. Like I don't crave salt. I don't want to be around salt. It's like I just eat it raw and I drink less. It's really
well, I mean, and it's many people aren't aware, but raw meat is 70% water by volume.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're going to obviously take in more liquid just from not cooking the meat for sure. So that makes sense to me.
Yeah, I'm not like sold on that. I'm just like, it's an experiment.
Trying it.
I'm always experimenting, just to see what it'll do. But
yeah, why not? Sure. Like I said, the only caveat is, there are some people that do actually get infections from that. So you have to be careful of the sourcing and how it's prepared and whatnot. But other than that, I think it's fine. I mean, raw meat served all over the world in various forms, whether it's steak tartare or carpaccio or sushi for that matter.
Yeah.
How much do you generally eat to maintain, I'm not sure how tall you are, but
I'm
200 pounds.
Yeah.
6 foot, 200 pounds. Well, how much is that required for you to eat?
About 2 pounds. Yeah.
Okay, that sounds about right.
And if I'm really working hard, about 2.5 pounds.
Okay, so I mean, if you're just doing that in hamburger, that's probably about $10 a day, something like that.
Well, it's actually less than about a whole cow, and that's all I eat.
Okay,
and I have
under 10.
Yeah, and I turn the whole cow into hamburger.
Oh wow. Okay, so this is the whole cow in hamburger, even the ribeyes and stuff. Huh? Wow,
the whole thing. Yeah,
but the processor is going, what the hell's going on with this guy?
He actually knows you now because this is cow free, and so
got it. Okay, and so would you say this diet for you then is cheaper than other diets?
Oh yeah. So my last cow was a big cow. It was a big Texas Longhorn, and it was I had 896 pounds of meat. It was crazy amount of meat, and most meat I've ever seen in my life. But see, that cow was $2,400, right? So I'm eating 5 to 8 a day, $5 to $8 a day, and I never go out anymore. And that's another thing that I quit is I don't go out to eat anymore. I'd rather stay home and eat. And the problem is when you become carnivore, you learn how to cook meat. And so when you do go out to eat, it's like, why am I paying this much for steak when I can make a steak?
Yeah,
that's just as good, I mean.
Yeah, absolutely. Whenever I go to a restaurant and I'm paying, 50, 80, 100, 120 bucks for a steak, I'm like, damn, I could have paid, I could have made that for, 25%, 20% of the cost in
Yeah,
many cases,
and
so
have
it's kind of
more
crazy.
because there's a lot of times where if I'm going out to eat, it's not enough. Guy like
Yeah.
they're serving 20
Yeah.
ounce steaks. It's like, are you kidding me, man? I mean, that's
Well,
just getting started.
whenever I see like a 12-ounce steak on a menu, I'm like, what the hell? I'm not, it's kind of crazy. I don't even, I can't imagine even thinking about that. So, or I'll have to preheat before I go.
Yeah.
Um, do you have any family or anybody around you? What's your kind of
No,
immediate circle
I'm
like?
all alone out here. I was married, and I'm actually at house right now. She's really cool, but yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm all she was just like she just thinks it's crazy, and she's an NP, right? And so
Okay.
she's just like, I just can't believe all she do is eat meat, and I go to the gym a lot, which is a small town, and I'm the only one that's eating meat, and everyone just thinks I'm nuts. And that's the weirdest thing is they see the change, right? But they're just like
Hmm.
scratching their head. And I was like, oh, all I eat is meat. They're like, that's crazy, but they don't ever do it. It's so weird.
Hmm. So your ex-wife would have known you when you were sick,
Absolutely, yeah.
and so she's had to have seen some of the changes, right?
Well, when she met me, I was so hurt. Like I was like, it's like taking care of a kid or something. Like, I mean, I wasn't helpless, but like, there's just certain things I couldn't do around the house, And now I come over here and I mow her lawn, Like there's like, it's just weird. It's hard to explain. I wasn't, like I had to take breaks all the time. So I had to work hard, but then I have to take a break, and I'd have to just be like, I'm hurt. I just sit here for a minute, And so now when I'm helping out, I can actually like do something for 8 hours straight or something, And there's actual times where I outdo the guy that's not hurt, Like, I'm just like, yeah, now let's go. He's like, you have to take a break. And I'm like, okay, but
Well, as a healthcare professional, an NP nurse practitioner, I
yeah.
assume she's had to have noticed your improvement in your health. Is she like think the meat thing is weird too, or is she
Yeah,
curious
she's
about
just
that?
she's a great gal. It's just that she's so science, and she just it's just hard for her to believe this, right? And I watch her she has all these shakes, and she has like the vegetable protein shakes, and she's like trying to get as much protein as she can in her diet, but it's just I'm trying to explain to her, hey, why don't you try meat? And then she gets upset. She's like, I just can't eat meat. I'm like, okay, But yeah, it's night and day. I mean, she knows I'm going over to compete, Like I actually had to qualify for that. I was competing against 200 other guys from around the world. I got top 10, And so like if that's not night and day, I don't know what is.
So, now you were on disability from the injury. Are you
Yeah.
are you planning on maybe going back to work at some point, or what do
Yeah,
you think
so
your capacity is going to be?
workers' comp is finally said they've had enough of me, and I'm still on the Social Security, but I got into crypto, so I'm getting off of that real soon too. But I tell them the truth 100%, and so I think they wrote me a letter 2 years ago, and I gave them their all the info, and they said, "All right, we'll let you have it one more time." All right, and I just totally truthful, but yeah, I think I am going to get a job, and hopefully it's going to be in crypto, but yeah, I'm doing great, Like if I could probably get a job right now and be fine.
Yeah, because you're not in pain.
Nope.
You've got regional fun, maybe a little bit of weakness on the right
Yeah.
side still, but overall functioning pretty well. I mean, you're obviously good enough to try to compete in some kind of sport. So you're probably better than half the people out there, even though you
Yeah,
have this
yeah.
catastrophic.
Yeah, and it's not that I don't want to run, I just can't run. I have giant drop foot, and I'm slow. I don't walk fast, but I can walk forever. Like just keep going. Um, and so yeah, I mean, I actually don't want to be on social security. I don't like the fact. The problem with being on workers' comp is that they almost want you to kind of stay put, you know. And it's like because if you go outside their realm, then they're going to cut you off, you know. So it's like I'd rather just get a job and see where it goes, you know. But yeah. And I was
Okay.
a
And
worker my whole life, you know.
yeah. What about is there any sort of mental side of this that has the diet impacted you mentally in a way? Has it made you happier, more calm, better able to think? I mean,
Well, I can say I went
can you
through a
contrast the
divorce.
different?
Yeah, I went through a divorce, and it sucked, but it really wasn't that bad. Like I just you know I worked out a lot, and it wasn't like the end of the world. And that was my thing. And if something bad would happen, I would get a lot of anxiety, but it just feels like I have problems I have them all the time. Is I still feel like there's hope there, right? It's like, well, I'll get through it. And I think more clearly, and the headaches are gone. I used to get those all the time. And yeah, I think I can remember everything too. And that's another thing that's cool is like I'm really into crypto, and I'm like I can think about it for hours at a time and recall everything, you know. And but
What so are you sort of obviously you're in a small town, there's not
yeah,
many people there, they all think you're kind of crazy.
yeah,
Have you been
yeah,
able
they
to
do.
share this sort of recovery with a wider audience? Do you do any like social media stuff or anything like that?
Well, I try. I post states on my Facebook all the time. I do the same thing on my Instagram. I try, but it's just so like I don't know. They all just think I'm nuts, you know. And but I was at church the other day, and I ran into a guy who was a carnivore, and I was like, oh my God, you know. And we talked for hours after church, hours upon hours, and we're like, nobody really gets it, you know. I'm like, yeah, I get it, you know. And so every time I see him, I'm like, he's always asking me like, so where'd you get your cow, blah, blah, blah. And we're just now we're like, you know, it's a small community though. So I'm sure if I was over by you, I'm sure there's probably a lot more probably guys that are with this thing. But you know what's weird is the guy that introduced me to the carnivore diet, he no longer is on the carnivore diet, and he's always calling me up all the time, asking me how the carnivore diet's doing. I'm like, it's doing great. Yeah, but he's telling I don't know why, but he quit. You know.
Yeah. So what? So you got this upcoming competition coming.
Yeah,
When you said that's going to be in San Antonio. When is that
yeah.
going to take place?
September 19th to the 23rd.
So
Yeah, I
not
got an
too far.
Airbnb
About a
over.
little
Yeah.
six weeks or 6 7 weeks away. Um, what does your daily routine look like now, as far as I guess preparing for this competition and kind of daily life stuff?
So I wake up about 5 o'clock in the morning, go to the gym, and just and I don't do very heavy weights, but I just do but just the weight required for it for what I have to do. But it's usually a full body work workout, right? And so I do that every day, 5 6 days a week, and I'm working out about 2 to 3 hours a day at the least, right? And then I'm also trying to train for to go over the defunds. And so like a year ago, around this time, I made it halfway up there and I couldn't do it. So now I'm trying to make it all the way through. And it's 26 mile long hike, right? So
Through the Tetons with a drop
yeah,
foot.
yeah.
So
It's on the way down is what sucks. Is on the way down, right?
yeah, do you have like an AFO or something like that, ankle foot
Uh, I
orthosis to help?
I did, and I threw that thing away. It's just it's annoying.
Yeah.
It actually hurts more. It doesn't hurt, but it makes me weaker when I use one of
Okay.
those. So if I
Okay.
use one of those for a week, then I lose
Lose some
strength and
strength.
effort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What, anything else? Anything else you want to share that we haven't had a chance to
Um,
discuss?
Not that I can think of. I mean, I was thinking about this all week, and I was hoping I could do a good interview, but I'm just like, it's just like, it's just so night and day for me. Like, I just can't believe I actually thought it was over for me. Like, I really did. Like, I was kind of resigned to the fact that this is the way it is, and these are the cards I'm dealt, and action has happened, and that's it, And it's just so crazy that like I'm doing, not only am I not the same guy, but I'm doing things that I never thought I could ever do. Even before I got hurt, like the inspiration I got for it's just such a big like contrast, it's like black and white, it's like here I was here and here I am now, right? And it's just like it's just crazy, And I've had heartburn for my whole life. That's been gone now. I can't even remember the last time I've had heartburn. I forget to eat all the time because I'm into something. And I'm like, yeah, I forgot to eat. But then I'm like, well, I'll just eat when I get home. Like it's no big deal, And so I think that's just so cool.
Yeah, so fair to say this has been a complete benefit to your life. I mean, you said you like to try things, experiment with things.
Yeah.
I assume you're not going to go back to doing a plant-based or a vegan diet anytime soon. Is that fair to say?
No, no.
No?
In fact, I had one cheat. I cheated one time. I had a big bowl of ice cream, and I felt sick the next day. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
that's all the evidence I need. But I watched my friends. The guy who sent me the first YouTube, he is still doing carbs. He was in carnivore for like 6 weeks. He went back to carbs, and he's not getting any good results. And so like everyone I see is not good. Like I watch YouTube all the time. All I gotta do is watch you and you interview these guys, they all say exactly the same thing. Like, yeah, I went back to class, my headaches came back, my sleep went away, and the list goes on and on, right? So I'm like, well, I'm fine, And well, here's the thing: is like, I was so hurt, like so hurt. Like, why would I want to go back to that? Why would I even take the chance of that? Like, even if it's for a day, I don't understand. Like, and there's some guys who go off on what about your health, your cholesterol, and I'm like, which I know that's not true, but even if let's just say it was true, I would rather live with if I knew I was going to die in like a week, I would still eat meat because uh before when I lived, it was like I might as well be dead. Like it's just like there's no point, and that's not a life. But I know that the cholesterol thing's not true, and I've never gone to get any blood tested, and I won't. And I just only time you're gonna ever see me there is if I'm hurt. That's it. It is if I absolutely have to be there. But I haven't been sick the whole time. You know, and I feel good.
Yeah, awesome. That's great for you, man.
Yeah.
Um, what about share your, if you don't mind, sharing your social media, your Instagram or your Facebook,
My
whatever it is.
Instagram is Will Hill 171, and that's all I really have. I'm not an influencer or anything, but I'll
Sure.
coach anyone for free. I swear. I mean, if someone wants help with this, it's free for fun. And
so Will Hill 171 on
right.
Instagram. They can follow you. You post some stakes and maybe talk about are you like sharing your journey towards this athletic competition on there at all?
Yeah. So I post like every time I do like a workout, I put this is what I had to do to qualify. This is what I got. I do have a YouTube, but see, when you do these workouts, you have to put it on YouTube, then they have to watch it. That's how it works. And then this last competition is going to be live, right? But I look weird on the YouTube, so I haven't really paired it with anyone because, you know, because I'm hurt, right? So I just do these weird things, but I just try so hard, you know? and, and yeah, and so there's a lot of guys who are like, man, that's great. You're going to this thing. And I have a lot of guys that are going to come with, you know, they just want to see me perform, you know?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, Will, I appreciate your time. I look forward to you achieving wonderful success and continue to hopefully get stronger and better as time goes on. Thanks for being here, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely, Shawn. Thank you.
Have a good day and good luck with your competition, man.
All right. Thanks.